צהריים טובים. אני אברהמי, אני מנכ"ל מחב"א. אלי אמר שיש לנו את המליאה עכשיו, היא תהיה מליאה קצרה בעצם, ואני אסביר מה אנחנו הולכים לעשות בחצי שעה, משהו כזה, נכון? הקרובים. ולאחר מכן אפשר לצלצל לכיתות וללכת לשמוע את החלק השני או את החלק השלישי של המליאות, שאני יודע שהכינו הרבה וכדאי להישאר ולשמוע. אז קודם כל אני רוצה כמובן להצטרף לדברים שנאמרו בבוקר לגבי ולאחל שלום ובריאות לכל חיילי צה"ל באשר הם. אני רוצה לציין שיש מגזר שלם של אנשי מילואים שעושים תורמים תרומה אדירה, ואני חושב שכולנו חווים להם חוב גדול, כמה נמצאים פה, חווים להם חוב גדול. ספציפית, לי יש אח שעושה מילואים מה-7 באוקטובר ברצף, אז הוא לא שוחרר ליום אחד אפילו, אז אני מכיר את זה מהבית, מה שנקרא. אז באמת, ולכן באמת שנראה את החטופים במהרה בימינו חוזרים בריאים ושלמים, והחלמה לכל נפגעי צה"ל, ובאמת חוזרים על זה פעם אחר פעם, אבל אי אפשר להגיד את זה מספיק, כמה שיותר פעמים זה רק להוסיף. אני רוצה להצטרף לתודות שאמר אלי בבוקר, ואני חושב שאני מקווה שאתם נהנים ומפיקים הרבה תועלת מהכנס. אז באמת הרבה תודות לכל הצוות של מיטל ושל מחב"א שעבד מאוד קשה בראשותו של אלי לעבוד ולארגן את האירוע הזה, ובסיוע של גלעד וכל הצוות שעבדו מאוד קשה כדי להרים את היום הזה, וזה לא פשוט להרים כזה אירוע, ועשינו את זה בכוחות עצמנו, לא חברות הפקה וכל הדברים האלה, באמת האנשים עצמם עבדו קשה והרימו את האירוע. אז הרבה תודה גם לנותני החסות, וכמובן לכם שגם הגעתם היום וגם אתם שותפים שלנו לאורך כל השנה, ואני מעודד אתכם רק להרחיב את הפעילות עד כמה שניתן וכמה שיותר פעילות משותפות. כמה מילים לגבי מחב"א, כי נשאלתי גם בהפסקה מה זה בדיוק מחב"א, מה מחב"א, מידע, מה הקשר. מחב"א זה בעצם עמותה שהיא בבעלות 9 האוניברסיטאות הגדולות, אבל נותנת שירותים לכל עולם האקדמיה, ואפילו לכמה גופים ציבוריים, שזה מחלקות מחקר שהם לא חלק מהאקדמיה. גם שם אנחנו נותנים שירותים, שהשירותים שלנו בעצם מתחלקים ל5 חלקים. אחד, אנחנו ISP לכל דבר, אנחנו מספקים את כל שירותי התקשורת, בדיוק כמו ISPים אחרים, אבל אנחנו מתמקדים אך ורק בלקוחות שלנו. יש לנו הרבה מאוד חברות תשתיות בעולם ה-IT, שאנחנו עושים את ההסכמים איתם ומספקים שירותים לחברות קטנות כמו אמזון וגוגל ומייקרוסופט ווימוור ואחרים, NVIDIA וכל מיני חברות ששמעתם אותם מדברים על הבמה הזאת ומקומות אחרות פה במסגרת הכנס. יש לנו הרבה מאוד הסכמים, יש לנו הרבה מאוד פעילות בתחום מערכות מידע, כל מיני פרויקטים שעושים בתחום מערכות מידע, כמובן קבוצות אקדמיה, אז הרבה מאוד בתחום ה-AI שזה דיברו היום. ויש לנו בנוסף 2 גופים נוספים שלא קשורים ל-IT, אחד לעולמות המלמ"ד, כל העולם של מאגרי המידע לטובת המחקרים, שבעצם אנחנו מנהלים את הקשר שלכם, של האקדמיה, עם אותם פאבלישרס בכל רחבי הגלובוס. יש לנו עשרות רבות של הסכמים שבעצם מיועדים לטובת החוקרים באקדמיה, ואחרון וחביב כל העולם של מידע, כל העולם של טכנולוגיית למידה, כשאני מסביר את זה לאנשים מבחוץ, אז אני בטח לא צריך להסביר את זה, אבל כשאני מסביר את זה לאנשים מבחוץ, אני מסביר שהמטרה שלנו זה בעצם לגשר בין עולם הפדגוגיה הוותיק והטוב, לבין עולם הטכנולוגיה, שיש פה המון שימושים, ויחד איתכם אנחנו עושים הרבה מאוד דברים, והמטרה שלנו בהחלט להרחיב את הפעילות כמה שניתן. אני מזמין אתכם ומעודד אתכם גם להשתתף בפעילויות השותפות שמיטל עושים, כמו שאלי תיאר בבוקר, אבל גם לבוא עם יוזמות. צמאים ורוצים לשמוע יוזמות ורוצים לשמוע שיתופי פעולה עם כל גוף שהוא, החל מהאגודה לקידום ההוראה, ודרך כל גוף שהוא אנחנו נשמח להרחיב את הפעילות ולשתף את הפעולה. אז תבואו לאלי, לצוות שלו, אליי, כל נושא שהוא חופשי, אפשר למצוא, אם מישהו לא מכיר, הוא יכול לראות את זה באתר של מחב"א או באתר של מחב"א מידע, לראות את הפרטים, למי לפנות, ונשמח לשמוע כל הצעה וכל מיזם שהוא, נשמח לרוץ קדימה. אז זה בגדול לגבי מחב"א, שוב תודה לכם ותודה לכל מי שהיה מעורב בכנס הזה. וכעת לחלק האחרון, לחלק העיקרי בעצם של המליאה, ששום מה נעלם לי, אבל אני אתן לכם סיפור רקע. לפני שנה, משהו כזה, היה סיור בעצם של החבר'ה של קידום ההוראה, יחד והצטרפו לזה גם אנשים במיטל, זה בעצם היה סיור לימודי לסינגפור, כל מצטרתי. ובעצם שמה הם חזרו משם, סיפרו לי כל מיני סיפורים על כל מיני הרצאות מאוד מעניינות שהם שמעו, ואחת ההרצאות הייתה של דוקטור, אני מקווה שאני אבטא את שמו נכון, אבל הוא לא פה, אז בכל מכן יכול לתקן אותי, קוראים לו הו שן יונג, כאמור, מקווה שביטאתי את זה נכון, שהוא בכלל פיזיקאי, מתמטיקאי פיזיקאי, פרופסור מאוד בכיר באחת האוניברסיטאות שמה, שהראה והדגים להם דברים מאוד מרשימים בעולם הזה של טכנולוגיית למידה, ואז בני ואני דיברנו ואמרנו נביא אותו לכנס היום. כלומר היה צריך להיות, ויסלח לי פרופסור פסיק, זה נתן הרצאה מצוינת בבוקר, אבל הוא היה מיועד להיות ההרצאה העיקרית של הבוקר. אנחנו בדרך כלל מי שמכיר את הכנס הזה לאורך השנים, מסתכלים מאוד להביא בבוקר הרצאה קצת עם פלייבר של מישהו שנותן קצת מעולם הבינלאומי גם. קרה מה שקרה, כולנו מכירים וכולנו חיים את המציאות הנוראית שאנחנו חיים בה, והבחור מסינגפור כמובן, כמו רבים וטובים אחרים, לא רצה להגיע לארץ, אבל בכל זאת אנחנו כן החלטנו שאנחנו נחלום, אולי לא במליאה של הבוקר, במליאה של הצהריים, את ההרצאה שלו, וביקשנו שהוא יקליט עבורנו את ההרצאה, שאמורה להיות הרצאה מאוד מעניינת, קצת קיצרנו קצת, אני יודע שלפעמים לראות הרצאה מוקלטת זה קצת קשה, אז זה משהו כמו סדר גודל של 25 דקות, משהו כזה, אני חושב ששווה לראות את זה, תדמיינו שהוא פה על הבמה, אבל לא. אני מקווה מאוד שבלי כמובן להיכנס לפוליטיקה או לכל מיני דברים, שבשנה הבאה המצב יאפשר לנו לחזור למנהגנו ולהביא לכנס גם אנשים מחו"ל, שהמצב יאפשר את זה, אני מקווה שכך יהיה. אז זהו, זאת ההרצאה, אנחנו פה עם שאלות, הערות, כל דבר שהוא, ותהלו מהמליאה ובהמשך היום. תודה.
Shalom. I'm Shen Yong, and last year, September, my Institute for Pedagogical Innovation hosted the wonderful Israeli delegation for the 2023 Wandering Conference. I'd like to thank Eli Shmuley for inviting me to participate in the conference today. I joined the conference as a friend and a physics educator. We took this nice picture last year, so let's have a clearer picture. I think we all had a great time. Unfortunately, the world is quite a different place today. My heart goes to you and the innocent people in the region who have suffered, and some have suffered greatly. I'd like to send my best wishes and hope peace will be restored not too long in the future. As we move into the topic of today's discussion, I'll share a quote that I've picked up. This is the quote. There is a popular belief among anthropologists that you must immerse yourself in an unfamiliar world in order to truly understand your own. Well, how true this is, when a few years ago, when COVID-19 struck, well, an unfamiliar world descended upon us. We didn't have a choice. We didn't choose to visit that world, but it descended upon us, and we were forced to do some very deep thinking about our education. Now, more recently, with the emergence of Gen AI, we are forced again to rethink about our education. Well, on a lighter note, maybe I should let you guess where this quote comes from. Well, it actually came from a Hollywood comedy, Nanny Diaries. So you'd like to find out more, I'll leave you to watch the movie. So as said, in these few years, the unfamiliar worlds descended upon us. There is an interesting perspective that I've picked up when I was watching this TED Talk by Mustafa Sulaiman. He's the CEO of Microsoft AI. So in his talk, he used the metaphor a new digital species to describe the emerging Gen AI. Well, he has many interesting perspectives about this new digital species. Now he sees it as a digital companion that will augment our capabilities. Gen AI can be creative in writing and media generation. So this is actually maturing of perspective. So in the past, people were thinking that AI cannot be creative, but we have been proven wrong. And furthermore, they are capable of being kind, supportive, and empathetic. So we have seen people who likes to chat with AI chatbots. And there are many other capabilities of AI. They are able to make judgments. They can easily enumerate a whole range of possibilities. AI can also function as a personal assistant that is extremely knowledgeable and smart, providing legal, medical, and expert advice in various areas. They will also be able to process data and extract insights in much shorter time. Well, So naturally we'll be forced to think, what is distinctly human? So I did a little exercise. I was trying to recall, when I was a little kid, how many chickens did I need to see before I could recognize a chicken? So I think I've interacted with chickens in real life, and now I just see maybe 5 to 10 chickens, and I think I could recognize a chicken, a rooster, a hen, and a little chick. I could recognize them. For Gen AI, you probably need to show it thousands of images, to train it, to be able to recognize a chicken. Okay, so I think in that respect, humans are better at learning such things. So one of our strengths is that now we just need to see a few examples and we can make sense of things. Compared to Gen AI, where it seeks a pattern from a large data set for it to train. So I think this is something that's very important. But unfortunately, I've seen some of our students trying to learn like Gen AI. I mean, when they were learning physics or mathematics, they were rote learning. They were not trying to make sense from the few examples that has been given to them, but they're trying to do a lot of questions just to get a pattern, to know how to respond to a scenario. So I think that is rather sad, and I think we will need to teach our students how to learn in a way that they are able to make sense of the knowledge that has been given to them, so that they do not need a lot of examples and they could actually make inferences from a small number of examples. I think that is a very important thing. So when I shared this with my colleagues, after the discussion, someone sent me this photo. Okay, this is actually back in 2017. When they're trying to use machine learning to distinguish the Chihuahua from the muffin. So we thought that this would be a challenge for the machines. Okay, but it turns out that, well, Gen AI is actually able to distinguish the muffin from the Chihuahua. Okay, so something to think about. Okay, so some further thoughts on this, comparing human and AI. I think we can integrate from our 5 senses, combine with our thoughts, imagination, memories, and life experience to formulate new thoughts. We can make sense of the new world. We can make sense of the real world and create something novel. Okay, I think at the moment, we're still better than AI for doing such things. Okay, AI is just, a statistical or a stochastic parrot, as some people describe it. It doesn't know what it's talking about. It's just repeating things based on probabilities. On the other hand, there are actually repetitive tasks which are particularly complicated. If you ask a human to do it, it is likely that we'll make mistakes. Okay, so this aspect, not just AI, I mean the usual machine will actually do it better than us. Okay, so we need to know some of our weaknesses and some of the strengths of computers, programs. AI can also read, process, and synthesize information much faster than us. Well, so maybe one of the things we can do with AI is to make it summarize and synthesize information for us. Okay, so that will help us save time. Okay, so actually I was joking with some faculty because they were asking whether the university is going to pay them to get subscription to ChatGPT. So I told them, no, if you just invest maybe 20 USD a month, you get a very cheap and capable postdoc that can analyze and read papers for you. So isn't that a good investment that you would even use your own money? Okay, so something to think about. And even going more fundamental, okay, AI is digital. Our human brain has elements of both digital and analog characteristics. So if you compare driving a car, I just need a good night of sleep, have breakfast, I would be able to drive a car. Okay, but if you go to a self-driving vehicle that uses AI, it consumes lots of energy to analyze the images, okay, in order to drive the car in a safe way. So I think fundamentally, we are different, but I think AI should be used to augment our human capabilities and not to replace humans. Okay, so it is something that is related to how we should coexist with this new and powerful digital species that is going to be so pervasive in our world. Well, I actually, more recently, okay, I had some even deeper thoughts, after watching this interesting YouTube video, 12 genuine signs of intelligence that you can't fake. Okay, so this video has nothing to do with Gen AI, but it's just talking about people trying to pretend to be smart or faking to be smart. Okay, but there are certain characteristics that are very deep rooted, that cannot be faked. Okay, after watching this video, okay, so you may just want to scan the QR code and take a look at this video. I came out with a personal list of important human traits that will still be very important in an AI-pervasive world. Okay, so it's from various sources, and okay, so there's no real scientific research. It is very much my opinion, and this is my personal list. Maybe you also like to create your personal list, or you could add to my list. Okay, I think, from this video, it was mentioned that someone who's really smart has this insatiable curiosity. Okay, so I think this is something that you see a lot in little children. Okay, but it sort of died or extinct, as our students grow older. Okay, at least in my culture. Okay, I hope you're doing better than our culture. So it is something that we should actually preserve in our students. We should continue to encourage them to be curious, to find things out, to be able to make sense of the world. Okay, and the ability to do abstract reasoning is, I think, very important. Okay, so as mentioned, Gen AI currently, is very much like a parrot. Okay, so well, the good judgments and reasons that given you are actually collated from its training from large data sets from the internet. Okay, it's not really thinking. It's just repeating something that is often repeated. So it will also have biases. Okay, but I think humans, we are able to be self-aware, and we can actually exercise control. I mean, if you're a truly smart person, you'll be aware of your own weaknesses, your strength, and the things that you annoy people with. Okay, so it is something that is important, and I think we should actually develop. Well, related to what I've said so far, there is an education technical term, okay, but you can guess the meaning. Authentic learning. Okay, just to share, in case you do not know, what's so great about this school, it looks quite rundown, right? Now this is one high school that has got 9 Nobel Prize winners. Okay, so I was actually sitting in this biology class for 14 to 15-year-olds. So at the end of the lesson, I was asking the teacher, what's the secret? How do you teach your students so that they learn so well? Okay, so her response was that no, I mean, we don't teach, we don't lecture, but we use a Socratic approach, to ask students, to stimulate thinking, to draw ideas out of them. I think some of you must have seen this before. This is an interview with Isidore Rabi, a Nobel Prize winner in physics. So here, actually asking good questions, encouraging students to ask good questions is actually one of the very key things in learning and authentic learning. And of course, in today's terms, it would be like prompting, right? We're even talking about prompt engineering when we interact with ChatGPT. Just going back to authentic learning, Okay, it is an instructional approach that allows students to explore, discuss, and meaningfully construct concepts and relations in contexts that involve real-world problems and projects that are relevant to the learner. So of course, we always try to give real-world examples to excite our students, to help them see the relevance of what they're learning, and to get them interested. But I do have a few personal thoughts about teaching and learning related to authentic learning. So with AI tools, the average quality of work would be significantly higher. Okay, and students will not just get easily by rote learning. So this is a point that I've made earlier. And they need to be truthful and honest in their own learning, and they have to go beyond grades. So our students will need to be intrinsically motivated to learn. So that's not an easy thing to achieve. So there is actually a lot to do, a lot to think about, as educators. But maybe ChatGPT can help us. Actually, I did brainstorm, on how to actually engage students, how to make students interested, and ChatGPT gave some good ideas. Not all ideas are good. I think we need still to make our judgment. But I think we have a few good suggestions, from Gen AI. And to excel in the AI-pervasive world, okay, as mentioned earlier, so I'll say this again, they need to be able to make sense of the world, to create new ideas, make good judgments. And we as teachers will need to actually provide opportunities for them to do these things. Okay, so we need our students to have a very solid foundation in order to use Gen AI tools to augment to their human capabilities to produce high quality work. Okay, in my institution, we have been promoting authentic learning, and now I think it is even more important than ever, okay, as it brings out the better side of our human capabilities. But I'm going to stretch this a little to think, because, are we going to end up like, just training our students with vocational skills and everything must have an application and so on and so forth? So that's not what I'm promoting actually. Okay, on one hand, it is definitely very important to have real life examples and applications, but on the other hand, okay, it has to be meaningful to the individual. I'm going to actually give an example to just illustrate that authentic learning is not just about real examples and applications. Okay, so probably all of you would be able to recognize this picture of Abraham Lincoln. And actually, I'm not sure how many of you are aware of this. He actually read almost 6 volumes of Euclid's The Elements. Okay, so for those of you who are not familiar, this is actually a 6-volume book on geometry. Okay, so here is something that I found from his autobiography. Well, he has nearly mastered 6 books of Euclid's geometry. Okay, and he began a course of rigid mental discipline with the intent to improve his faculties, especially his powers of logic and language. So actually, his debating skills and reasoning skills were sharpened, by just reading and maybe fully understanding, the 6 books of Euclid. Okay, so this is an illustration. Okay, this is something I think is extremely human, right? You have the training of the mind using abstract reasoning and geometry here. And this learning was very real for Lincoln. I mean, he didn't just learn the mathematics. He was able to distill the goodness of the reasoning, behind this abstract reasoning and apply it to another area. Okay, I find this very amazing. Okay, of course, there is also other interesting stories related to Euclid's geometry. Sorry, I'm a physicist, so I like to talk about these things. Okay, so one of the postulate, one of the foundational principles in Euclid was to define, what we mean by being parallel. Okay, so Euclid have a definition of what's parallel, and it is found that actually it's actually not that complete actually. So it doesn't mean that you just have two lines that doesn't meet. Okay, that's for flat space. It's also possible to do other ways of defining parallel in curved space, and two new branches of mathematics actually evolved. Okay, it turns out that this became very important when Einstein was actually developing his theory of general relativity. Okay, so we see that this abstract reasoning, across the ages, actually helped human civilization to develop. And actually, one very important thing about the theory of general relativity is actually to compute the time dilation when we go to gravitational field of different strengths. And this is actually very important in GPS systems, because the time would not be synchronized on Earth and when you're up there, where the satellites are, because the gravitational field is different. So you see that there is actually a long journey from abstract reasoning to real life application. So while we recognize the importance of real applications, I think it is very important that we do not miss out training our students in abstract reasoning in authentic learning. Otherwise we will be potentially losing out something that is very important. So related to abstract reasoning is also the ability to make deductions from first principles based on our observations of the world. So some of you may not like Elon Musk, but here I think this is a very good example of how he applied first principle deduction. The battery packs, cheap battery packs are actually possible. And of course, this is the beginning of his empire on electric cars. So you see, this our reasoning skills is actually very important. But of course, in addition to teaching our students first principles and doing design, it is also very important for our students to be curators, to be able to make judgments when there are many designs and many possibilities. So a few years back, this is way before Gen AI, I was attending a workshop on Fusion 360. It has got generative design capabilities here. Now you probably can see the similarities between all these designs. Now you've got two holes, and then here there's a place for it to be mounted. So the students would need to be able to find or pick from one of these designs so that it can be used for whatever part of the machinery that they need to use. So not only do we need to train our students to be designers, we also need to train them to be curators. One of the very active developments using Gen AI in education is actually the development of chatbots. So we have seen some pedagogical principles, and we will want to develop our chatbots beyond just a search engine that synthesizes information or generate writing and media. So in my institution, a chatbot has been developed, and it takes the Socratic approach that we mentioned earlier. So when a student asks the chatbot a question, the chatbot will ask back a simpler question to guide the students to think in the right way. But of course, we know that some students will get frustrated when they don't get the answer immediately. So we need to make some tuning and make adjustments so that students will learn without getting too frustrated. And we know that, of course, Gen AI can also be used to evaluate our biases, provide counter views, and develop some of our soft skills. So related to this, actually the fourth point, I've seen some use of chatbots to develop a role-playing companion. And the students will be given opportunities to train and rehearse in the scenarios that has been produced by the chatbot. So this is something that's quite interesting. Lastly, probably the very common usage of chatbot is actually as a brainstorm companion. So one of our writing courses allows the students to actually share about the topics as the input, and it will nudge the students to think in certain directions that they might not have thought of. So here we see all a few different uses of the chatbots that can be used actually to support authentic learning. So another area of education that we were quite concerned would be so there is actually a very neat skill that has been developed. So I'll leave you actually to find out more if you are not aware of this AI assessment skill. So it's a spectrum of AI usage from a full AI to no AI. Okay, so from here we have also developed some pedagogical principles to guide the incorporation of generative AI into assessment. So I think it's very important that we prioritize our learning goals and not just use AI for the sake of using AI. The assessment has to be authentic and it has to be aligned with the intended learning outcomes. We need to ensure fairness, equity, and accessibility. Okay, so one of the approach that we did was that I think now there is an option of buying tokens instead of getting subscription for students. So actually we can develop our own platform and purchase the tokens, and all the students would have availability to the same platform to do their work. We want to focus on developing higher order thinking skills, and of course without saying, it is very important to ensure and maintain academic integrity, okay, and the value of the human input. Okay, so this is both the students and of course the instructor. So there is actually a lot of concerns, and we are forming guardrails with regards to the use of AI in the assessment of students' work. And we should also continually experiment and try out new things, okay, so that we can advance together with the developments in the real world. So if you're interested to pursue more, I'll invite you to the web page that has been recently launched. Concluding, you may want to have your own personal list of the important human traits that you like to help your students develop. And of course, we are cognizant that we are actually building the road as we walk on it. We contribute to how AI will evolve in the future. It is likely that we will need to slow down, think more deeply, and work together so that we can shape the future for the younger generation. So presently, I think for a 4-year education, in the first 2 years, the students will need to focus in building up a solid foundation so that they can be good judges of what has been produced by Gen AI. We want them to be like the boss of AI, okay, to be able to curate what has been generated. Students will also need to be able to stand on their own feet and confidently talk about their work. So in order to achieve this, they need to be authentic in their learning. Okay, so they not only need to be true to themselves, they will also need to be able to use AI tools to augment their human capabilities to produce high quality work. About 25 years ago, when I was a teacher training, towards the end of the training, there was a talk that was given. I can't remember the details of the talk, but I remember the last sentences that were said to me. Love your students, love your subject. So this has been a very useful guide for me in making decisions of what to do for my students. I hope they will also be useful for you. So thank you for your kind attention. So I pray that you and your loved ones will be saved in these very difficult times. Goodbye.